How's it going, boys and girls? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry. So, funny story, I was actually out of town for the entire weekend, and the last thing I recorded and uploaded was the previous video of Umineko, where Maria read this lovely letter that was apparently from Beatrice, and yeah, things are quickly ramping up. Things are truly shifting. And yeah, I was very curious as to, well, what's going to happen now? How is everybody going to take this? A lot of people are probably a little upset because this means that nobody gets money like how they wanted, and things are going into the direction of mystery because now they got to find this gold. That apparently seems to be the goal here. If you want money, well, you got to go find it. And yeah, having to be away all weekend, I mean, I went to go do something fun, but at the back of my mind, I was like, damn, what's going to happen in Umineko? Like, I kind of want to jump into it, but I'm not home. So don't worry, guys. I was also unable to quickly jump into what's going on next. So I was on that cliff hanging with all of you, is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, the strange letter that the witch had entrusted to Maria wiped all memories of dinner from our minds. Maria was repeatedly barraged with questions by Aunt Rosa and the other parents, and became increasingly ill-tempered when they refused to believe her. If we kids tried to butt in, they would probably ignore us. Our parents were all stirred up, firing back and forth about the gold and the distribution of the assets, and just completely forgetting that we were even there. I had already guessed that they'd been talking like this in the shadows, but I hadn't thought they'd be so blunt. It gave all of us kids a considerable shock. It's probably because of this letter. This is really just like screw trying to hide it and to, I don't think they were implying anything necessarily, but I think out of kindness, they were just keeping it to themselves and trying not to involve the kids because that could be a little bit more complicated. But now at this point, it's like, well, everybody just heard this shit. No point in trying to hide it from anyone anymore. I mean, it's pretty obvious what everyone's goal here is. Money, money, money. From what we could overhear, all the parents wanted more money as soon as possible. I'm glad that we were able to quickly jump to that conclusion. Back and forth about grandfather's inheritance, back and forth about the distribution of the gold if it was found, about advance payments in cash. It was so despicable, I could hardly bear to watch, even though one of them was my father. It looked like Jessica felt the same way. We left our seats without being asked to, and went to hang out somewhere well away from our parents.
なるほどな。じいさまが飯の席にも顔を出したくない理由がよーくわかったよ。
Yeah, everything here is just messy.
うちの親たちにはすっかり幻滅だぜ。金だの遺産だの。よくもまああそこまで大っぴらに。
俺の場合はクソ親父に幻滅しきってるからよ。これ以上評価の下がりようがないぜ。
The thing is that Jessica was most likely kept away from whatever the hell that her parents have been up to. Obviously things haven't been going really well with Kraus, but she probably has been so focused on school, she has not been able to even try and figure out what's been going on, with her close, family here at this house. So I don't think she has bias, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't think Battler has any real bias either. I'm kind of curious as to where George might be coming from here. What his opinions might be. Because he is the oldest sibling. So, and I think he works at his father's company. I gotta wonder what he thinks here.
しかし、今夜のには呆れたぜ。心底呆れたぜ。
Jessica looked down at the floor, irritated. She was always talking about how bad her parents were, but maybe she hadn't really felt that way deep inside. The depths of Jessica's shock made that clear.
未成年の君たちはご両親に養育してもらってるからわからないだろうけど。
Oh, here we go.
お金を得るというのは単純な綺麗事じゃないよ。未成年である今にそれを理解しろとは言わない。でもご両親なりに何かの努力をしていることだけは認めてあげてほしいな。
There is also a sense of selfishness, though when it does come to money and trying to keep like yourself and your business or whatever afloat, yeah, it's a very important thing. And patience, nah, screw that. Like, there is no patience because you want to make sure that everything remains okay and alive and afloat.
やれやれ。
Because once you go into the negatives and you just get too far deep, there is no crawling back. Even if you do get the money eventually, it's too far gone.
長次の兄貴は人間ができてるぜ。
And we already heard a little bit of everybody's situation, so there you go.
ジョージ兄さんは社会人になってバリバリ働
Hideyoshi
いて
could
るけど
quite
よ
literally lose everything, and no amount of money is going to get him back in there.
金とか財産とかそういう話になったらうちの親父たちみたいに強欲むき出しのハゲタカになれるってのかよ。
自分だけの話だったらそんなことはしたくないよ。でも家族や社員、部下やその家族の生活を背負ったら戦わなければならない時もあるかもしれない。
Yeah, here we go.
私はそんな戦い嫌だぜ。小さまの遺産がどうのこうのなんて話ヘドが出るぜ。
No, it is actually really messy. It's kind of disgusting in a huge way here because, yeah, it's disregarding the old man. And I know I kind of already talked about it earlier. In the sense of, you already know he's going to die. You need to start thinking about divvying things up. But the way they went about it was, no, they're trying to get a big old cut here. They're trying to push Kraus into a corner. And things kind of went in a totally different direction there. Jessica pretended to spit violently. That harsh reaction made the depths of her pain very clear.
もうこの話はやめようぜ。じい様の隠し黄金がどうのこうの、財産だ遺産だって話は親たちの問題で俺たちの問題じゃないさ。
Oh yeah, it's also 10 p.m.
僕も同
It is
感だよ。
nighttime, and it's raining.
せめて気を利かせて親たちの話し合いを邪魔しないのが子供の務めだと思うね。
チェなんだか面白くねえぜ。
Everyone knows the phrase "adults are filthy." I didn't know about that, but I seriously, I have no idea. Like, I had no idea about that one, but all right. I guess I have to agree. Once you grow up, I mean, you learn things and you experience things that really does kind of change your outlook on life in a way. But we had now seen that for ourselves, and that really did give us a considerable shock. George Aniki was now pretty much an adult, and I had already been disillusioned with my dad, so the shock wasn't that big for us. But Jessica seemed to be taking it hard. Apparently, she had received a bigger blow than I thought. Damn, she really was kept in the shadows. She always talks badly about her parents, but it looks like she hadn't changed at all on the inside. Even now, she's still a pure-hearted, delicate person who can't doubt others. I'm sure she respected her parents as much as anyone else does. And then her parents started raging about, going, money, money, inheritance, inheritance, my money. Right in front of all of the other parents and the children. It's no surprise that she received such a shock from hearing that.
ジェシカちゃん、どうかお父さんとお母さんのことを嫌いにならないで。
Or anyone in the family for that matter. Like, it's a really awkward and strange situation that we have going on here, but at the end of the day, everybody is family, and everybody has got to stick together. Even so, there seems to be quite a divide between sibling one and the rest, so there's also that going on.
理解しろとまでは言わないから、せめてどうか嫌いにならないであげて。
分かってるよ。少し放っておいてくれよ。
Damn, she really is taking it harshly. 6 years ago, I would have kept taunting Jessica even after she got all dejected, excuse me. But I guess I really have grown over the last 6 years, time and place. I realized it'd be better to leave Jessica alone right now. Jessica suddenly looked away sulkily and left the parlor. Where's Maria? I'm very curious as to how she's doing. She probably wanted to be alone for a while. I could do nothing but wordlessly watch her back as she left.
そういえば、マリアちゃんはどこに行ったんだろう。
Well, there we go.
多分まだ肖像画の前でいじけてるんだろうぜ。
Maria truly looked up to the witches, or two witches, and she had expected that coming in direct contact with Beatrice and receiving the letter as proof would surprise everyone and make them happy. However, the adults had doubted its authenticity, thoroughly bombarding Maria with questions and refusing to accept her story. Even for me, it wasn't hard to imagine how much that must have hurt Maria. We couldn't speak to Maria or Jessica. In the end, Georgianiki and I just abandoned ourselves to the sound of the falling rain in the dark night.
台風はどんな感じなんだろうね。ニュースをやってないかな。
Georgianiki started walking over to the corner of the parlor where the television was. He hadn't called me over, and I really couldn't have cared less where the typhoon was on the sea now. So without going over to the television, I loitered around the window. Uh-oh.
そんなに風は出てなさそうだけど、
Yeah, careful
海の上はひどいのかしらね。
careful when it, comes to looking out the window during the night. I think we've been told a few times that, oh, you could see the witch or whatever. She could see you.
天気予報では暴風警報も聞いてたんだけど。
キリエさんか。大人たちの積もる話はどんな感じなんすか？
She seemed to catch the sarcasm. Kirie-san shrugged.
この胃の痛くなる話は徹夜で続くのかしら。嫌になるわ。
まあ、せいぜいよろしく。じい様の財産分配について、ハゲタカごっこをお楽しみくださいってんだ。最低の気分だぜ。
それに関しては同感よ。バトラ君みたいに席が外せるなら、私もそうしたいわ。
But you can't.
でもそうもいかない。たとえ発言権がなくてもね。パートナーも大変よ。
Yeah, honestly, I've seen a little bit of that so far. Kirie-san took a deep breath, smiling bitterly. That's right. They probably wouldn't let Kirie-san speak since she only married into the family. Still, as Dad's partner, she's had no choice but to stay by his side and support him. She's probably had to bear the full brunt of this mental pressure much more than me. I wasn't going to apologize, but realizing that I had spoken too harshly, I kept the sarcasm for the time being.
どんな感じなんすか？相変わらず謎の魔女ベアトリーチェの話題で持ちきりですか？
まあね、あの人たちはおじい様が亡くなった時の遺産分配について兄弟4人で話をまとめようとずっと密約を重ねてきた。
Yeah, it seems like it.
そこへ未知の5人目が現れて話をややこしくしようっていうんだから穏便な話のわけもないわ。互いを罵り合ったりかと思えば共闘しようってことになったり。
Oh, yeah, that's right. So it's very possible, or you know what, let me reword this. They are thinking that, yeah, there is a fifth person of some sort, such as somebody, legally, aligned somewhere, lawyer, attorney, something along those lines, whatever. Either way, somebody that definitely has a better grasp on the money than, well, the fucking family. So that is one way that they're looking at it, rather than seeing it as, yeah, there's a witch, and the witch is behind it all. So I think they're trying to look at it more logically than, ooh, spooky, mystery fictional witch.
夏日姉さんでなくても頭痛がしてくるところよ。
On the one hand, they all want a larger portion than the other siblings, so they're all rivals. But on the other hand, they don't want 1 yen to be snatched up by anyone other than the siblings, so they're also all allies. I hadn't been told the details, but the siblings were apparently discussing how to protect their shares under various situations, setting up ceasefire agreements and rules to prevent anyone from getting an unfair advantage, even preparing to resort to legal action if absolutely necessary. That they would go this far to preserve their shares was so beyond disgusting that you just had to acknowledge their resilience.
ってことは、
Well,
さ
guys,
しずめ。
as we all know, money talks. Money has so much pull. It really does.
ベアトリーチェはじい様からの資格ってとこですかね。自分抜きで遺産の分配なんて話を勝手に進めてた息子たちに一泡吹かせたかったんだろうぜ。
何者かしらね。
Yeah.
ベアトリーチェって。
I also wonder.
自称してることが全て本当なら今日まで誰にも知られずにいた謎の人物でしかもおじい様の隠し黄金の存在を知っていてその上当主の指輪まで委ねられている相当に信頼された人物ね。
さすがにほうきにまたがった魔女だとは思わないっすけど。
No, but she is here somewhere.
でも魔女と呼ぶに値する怪人物であることは間違いないっすね。
マリアちゃんがそのあたりのことを詳しく話してくれればいいのだけどみんな小さい子にがっつきすぎだわ。 かり怯えてしまって、聞けるものも聞けなくなってしまった。
Honestly, that whole deal with Maria reading the letter was very odd because she did the thing where the complete tone of her voice shifted and she spoke like a completely different person. She spoke normal, like a normal person. No ooze, no like accidental slip ups or anything that you would expect of a child. It was very odd, and it definitely strikes me as I don't know, was she possessed? Was something else going on there? She was the messenger, but I think there was more behind that title.
あの人たち、北風と太陽とか読んだことないのかしら。
確かなのはマリアがベアトリーチェと名乗る人物から手紙を受け取ったこと。自分で現れて直接話せばいいものを、手紙を託して今もどこかに身を潜めているっていうシャイな怪人物ですけどね。
ねえバトラ君、ベアトリーチェなんて人物が本
Yes,
当にいると思う？
I do. Personally, I really do think that there is a Beatrice somewhere out there. Whether she's an actual witch or not, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've seen some paintings of her, and I'm pretty sure that she is a character that will pop up in some form if she looks exactly as she does in the portrait or not. I think I talked about this before, but I think there is a character that goes by the name of Beatrice. Whether or not she is a witch remains to be seen. But we've got 8 big-ass episodes to find that out.
さあ、あくまでも偽名じゃないっすかね。じい様の代理人としてその妄想の中の魔女の名を名乗ることを許された。
I don't know. I mean, he shouts that name like he means it.
そうじゃなくて、今このロッケン島には全部で18人いるの。
Are you sure about that?
19人目が存在すると思う？
Yeah, like, are you sure about that? Like, let us go to the character logs here. Is there actually 18? I mean, there's 11 of the siblings, or the family members, excuse me. And then Kinzo is 12, the doctor is 13, and then we have the 5 servants. So yeah, that's 18. So, is there? I don't know. I think so, personally, because somebody had to have grabbed the ring, which Kinzo definitely threw out the window, and somebody also gave Maria that umbrella. I mean, nobody of the 18, minus Maria, so 17, actually confessed to giving Maria the umbrella. And no one seems to be, playing a prank of any sort. Nobody fits that bill. Maybe the servants, but they all had alibis. Everybody's got an alibi. So there's a lot of weird shit going on here for sure. Are there really a full 18 people on this island right now? There might be more than even 19. Wondering about that, I began counting on my fingers, and it really did come out to that many.
19人目が存在すると思うって、どういう意味ですか？
言葉通りの意味よ。マリアちゃんに傘を貸した人物は私たち18人の中にはいないらしい。なら19人目がいて、その人物がマリアちゃんに傘を貸したと思うのが妥当じゃない？
ま、そうなりますね。
ならその人物は今どこにいるの？
In the forest.
少なくとも雨が降り出した瞬間には島にいた。そしてその後はどんどん天気は悪化して、とても船なんか出せない状態。となれば、その人物はまだ島の中にいて、どこかで雨宿りをしていなくてはならない。
Oh, I'm sure that there's like some sort of structure or something that is low-key somewhere in that forest.
私たち誰の目にも触れずね。
確かに。俺たちは屋敷やゲストハウスの中を勝手にうろつき回ってましたが、誰も19人目なんかには会ってないわけですよね。でもまあ、これだけの広さのある島ですし、屋敷やゲストハウス以外に雨宿りできるところだってあるのかも。
At about this time, I began to realize what direction Kirie-san's suspicions were taking us in. Kirie-san was denying that a 19th person existed. Beatrice was one of us 18. In other words, she thought someone we knew well was tricking us. That is a way of looking at it.
その人物は間違いなく最高の賓客よ。
Yeah, so going back to what I was saying in regards to like nobody seemed like they were trying to pull a prank or trick us, how the fuck am I supposed to know? sure, most people seem to have an alibi. The servants, can we fully trust them? Can we fully trust where they were? I mean, Konon kind of sticks out because he was out there. He was on his way to the guest house. He could have actually brought Maria something. He could have grabbed the ring that Kinzo threw out. He could have made a letter. He could have brought an umbrella. And he could have just given all that shit to Maria. And then just went into the guest house and said, hey, where's Maria? But then, what would Maria say in response to all this? Why would she be in on some, just some weird-ass joke? So that doesn't make sense to me either. Maria got these things from somebody who she truly believes is a witch, and is Beatrice. So I don't know if we can roll with that idea here, that one of the 18 here is that Beatrice and that they set this up.
19人目の存在を認めるにも否定するにも情報が足りない。
Yeah, honestly, I just think we have to keep on rolling with whatever we've got. We got to keep our ears, eyes, and everything open to see if anything really does stick out.
でもね、チェス盤をひっくり返して考えると、ほぼ19人目はありえないって断言できちゃうのよ。
Okay, let's hear it. Spin the chessboard around was one of Kirie-san's favorite phrases. I've been influenced by those words and use them myself from time to time. When you get stuck trying to find a move in chess or shogi, then by spinning the board around and looking at everything from your opponent's standpoint, you can often see a strategy that'll give you the upper hand. That is smart. It means turning things around and putting yourself in your opponent's shoes.
いい？仮に19人目の人物としてベアトリーチェが実在したとして、その人物は誰にも知られることなく、こっそりとこの島に上陸し、ずっと隠れていた。何かの理由があってね。なら、どうしてわざわざ姿を現してマリアちゃんに手紙を渡したの？
It really was a contradiction. If they had some reason for hiding themselves, then they should have stayed hidden the whole time. But even so, they had appeared openly in front of Maria.
それは、ほら、マリアも言ってた。メッセンジャーにされたって言ってたじゃないですか。マリアが一番年下で素直そうだったからじゃ。
Well, here's another thing here. Let us say this Beatrice, who is possibly here and is a 19th person on the island. Let's say she is a witch. Then she just resurrected or popped into existence again because apparently she had not been in existence for a while, and Kinzo was quite upset by that. However, he was under the impression that tonight is the big night. He threw his ring out the window, he did this and that to be sure that she will be here. And he was under the impression that, yes, she has, risen or whatever. So now she is here, but not by, our means. She's here by some mystical means.
メッセンジャーなんて必要なの？手紙を親族会議の席上に送りたかったら郵送すればいいだけの話よ。4人の兄弟全員に郵送すれば黙殺することもできない。手紙を持参してこっそり手渡す理由がないのよ。
I think they're trying to show that they have the ability to do these sort of things and make it stand out.
確かに。
Why do things traditionally?
おかしな話っすね。
そもそもベアトリーチェが存在していて、その存在をアピールしたいなら、みんなの前に堂々と姿を現せばいいだけの話。なのに現れず、マリアちゃんという小さな子を通して、おぼろげな輪郭だけでその存在を主張しようとする曖昧さ。矛盾。もっと考えて。マリアちゃんの前に姿を現し、19人目の存在を印象づけるという点と、今この瞬間も、私たちの前に姿を現さず隠れ続けている点。
Yeah, at this very moment and for the moment, I'm sure that if there is a person out there, they will make themselves very well known
これらの矛盾。
at some point. But there's got to be a reason for hiding.
これを念頭に置いた上でチェス盤をひっくり返すの。つまり19人目の人物としてベアトリーチェがいると印象づけたい人物の目論見は何かよ。
I don't know, to catch us off guard, to scare us?
姿を隠したい人物ならその存在をアピールするわけがない。そして姿を現したい人物なら 手紙を託すなんて遠回しをするわけがないってことは。
簡単よ。ベアトリーチェは18人の中にいるのよ。だからこそ18人以外の人物が存在するような幻想を作り出しているのよ。
I guess there's a way that you can actually say that what Kirie is coming up with here is absolutely true. What if Beatrice is one of the 18 people here in this building right now? There's a possibility, and you could probably argue it is Maria. Maria was made the messenger. She is that link to Beatrice, and therefore Beatrice herself. Maybe? I don't know.
これ見よがしな19人目のアピール。
But it's not Maria's actions, it's the actions of somebody else, which is contradicting all the shit I just said and makes it 19 people.
それで得をするのは姿を潜めた19人目じゃない。すでにいる18人の方なのよ。もちろんこの推理は穴だらけ。
Yeah, everything is full of holes here.
いくつかの前提がひっくり返るだけですぐに崩れる脆いものだけど、私はほぼ間違いないと見てるわ。
This is starting to feel pretty creepy, you don't say. That music is not helping either. Someone lent Maria the umbrella and handed her the letter. Supposedly, none of the 18 did this, and yet Beatrice was hidden among those 18. What was this person planning, hiding their true form and pretending to be Beatrice?
マリアちゃんの自作自演も疑ったんだけど、文章の内容が非常に手が込んでて、マリアちゃんが自前で用意したとは考えがたい。
Yeah, I don't think this was Maria's doing, and it's really hard to say if this was anyone, here, if it really was anybody else's doing as well, because it had some information that stuck out. You had to be in the know of what is going on, and also a pretty good tie-in with the epitaph.
でも、マリアちゃんが何者かと共謀している可能性も否定できないわ。
おいおい、マリアは9歳のお子様だぜ。
And gullible.
誰と何を共謀するってんだよ。しかも愚直で真面目で素直なあの性分だぜ。
Which is her weakness.
ええ。
She's a child.
私もマリアちゃんの性分はよく理解しているわ。でも、だからこそあり得ると思うの。魔女に憧れ、その存在を盲信している夢見がちな少女。そこにベアトリーチェと名乗る人物が現れて魔女だと名乗ったら、彼女。
つまりあの肖像画のごついドレスを着て変装すればマリアを騙すことは難しくないと。
So Kanon could have actually pulled it off.
その論法になっちゃうと、私たち女性陣はみんな疑われちゃうことになるんだけどね。とにかくマリアちゃんが何者に出会ったのか。
I mean, we could actually ask Maria, like, hey, what was Beatrice wearing? What did she say to you? What did she give to you?
それの詳細を聞くことがこの謎を解く一番にして最も身近な鍵なのよ。
Yeah, all we really asked Maria is like, oh yeah, who gave you the umbrella? Like, no, let's ask other questions to kind of paint the picture.
しかしその鍵は少女の心の奥に堅くなに閉ざされてしまったわ。みんなが頭ごなしに魔女の存在を否定し、一体その人物は誰なのかと問い詰めすぎた。マリアちゃんは当分大人には心を開かないでしょうね。
Yeah, that is actually a good point here. In the dim hall in front of the portrait of Beatrice, Maria was sobbing. God damn, this rain is fucking loud. I swear to God, if she like pops out of the painting or some shit, I am going to shit myself out of fear. Please do not do anything scary. Guys, I am like the biggest pussycat of all time. I get so scared at like the simplest of things. It's true. Like I couldn't even finish Corpse Party. I just get so scared.
ベアトリーチェが18人の中にいるのか、19人目なのか、それを知る鍵をね。
マリアは頑固だぜ。あいつへそを曲げるとなかなか機嫌を直さないからな。
Yeah, as we've recently seen.
大人の私より子供のバトラ君の方が機嫌を直せる確率は高そうよ。彼女の機嫌が直ったら聞いてみて。遺産分配がどうのこうのって話には関心ないけど、 こんな王道洋館ミステリーみたいなシチュエーションにはワクワクしちゃわない？
Oh, I'm on board. I love this shit. I don't know why I love this shit, but I do.
マリアちゃんに手紙を渡した人物は一体誰なのか。知的好奇心がうずくわ。
Yeah, I mean, it's getting me
す
talking.
るような金の話に付き合わされてもワクワクとは実にタフなことだぜ。大人はすげえや。
I shrugged, wait, what? Exasperatedly? Yeah, we got it. But I did notice something. Kirie noticed how dejected I was after overhearing our parents' turbulent discussion, and was probably trying to clear the air. At the very least, I had recovered enough to voice my complaints. She wasn't my real mother, so I've never felt like calling her mom. But it did make me think she's a real adult.
おうガキども、ここにいたのか。キリエも長え化粧直しじゃねえか。俺も次からは化粧をしてくることにするぜ。
Okay, what do you want? Like, why are you here? Why are you saying this dumb shit?
女の化粧は長いのよ。どう？兄弟水入らずの話し合いは。
さぞや和気あいあいとしてるだろうよ。
Oh yeah, especially with the backdrop of the rain. Kirie-san poked the weak spot under my arm with her elbow, excuse me.
一度頭を冷やそうってことで小休止さ。こりゃ夜通しになりそうだぜ。
Yeah, I think so.
泣けてくれ。
Oh, cry like a seagull? His way of talking hadn't changed, but he couldn't completely hide his fatigue. I couldn't say I was sympathetic, but he looked pitiful compared to his normal, energetic self. It's also been a very long day for everybody, and now this gets sprung up after they already had their, like, big discussion with Kraus.
バトラー、お前、今夜はそうは簡単には寝ないだろう。
Why wouldn't he? I mean, come on, this rain has got to be really soothing to listen to.
多分いとこたちとおしゃべりしてるだろうからな。夜更かししそうな気配はあるぜ。それがどうかしたのかよ。
そうか。もし大人たちの会議が終わってお前がまだ
Oh,
起きてたら
really?
ちょいと家族でしたい話があるんだ。
That's an interesting one.
なんだよ。柄にもねえな。
Apparently, Kirie-san was thinking the same thing. What are you talking about? She asked him in a small voice. It looked like Kirie-san didn't have a clue what Dad meant either.
キリエにも聞いてもらいたい話だ。後で話すから、今は聞くな。頼む。
I don't know anyone who neglects the concept of family as much as this old bastard. And now he's saying that we're gonna have a talk as a family? Huh? Both Kirie-san and I couldn't help but get wide-eyed.
そうビビった顔すんなよ。
Well, it's different. It's weird,
ビビってるのは
right?
俺の方なんだ。何しろ。
At that point, he swallowed his words for an instant. Even though putting on airs of importance wasn't much like my dad.
気持ち悪いぜ親父。今家族は全員揃ってるじゃねえかよ。もったいぶらずに言えよ。
Is he going to?
俺は多分
Oh.
今夜殺されるだろうな。
Oh. Okay. That's not what I was expecting, and I'm very confused as to why he's thinking that. There was a huge crash of thunder. It must have been really close. Dad's expression, brightly illuminated by the lightning, was burned into my eyes. Dad's face, which always looked so sure of itself, and which always wore a taunting expression, was strangely frail in a way I couldn't really explain. It was so worn out that he looked like a different person.
は何言ってんだよ、柄でもね。
同感よ。どうしたの？急に弱気ね。
Yeah, what the fuck were they talking about in there? Why is this what he's coming out with?
あなたらしくもない。
俺も化粧直しに行ってくる。
Yeah, you go do that.
ついてくんなよ。
Dad turned away weakly. After that, only Kirie and I were left, still wide-eyed.
なんだってんだ。今夜殺される？まさか。あの妙な手紙のせいで親父ビビっちまったのか？
Hey, this is kind of just matching my overall prediction here that, yeah, somebody, at least one person is going to die tonight. And not die as in like, oh, they've passed away due to old age and, you know, drinking problems and whatever, aka Kinzo. But I'm thinking that somebody will be killed, like most definitely.
連続殺人者の映画の見過ぎだぜ。
Kirie-san didn't answer my lighthearted words and continued to stare at my dad's disappearing back.
バトラ君はルドルフさんに今話せと言ったら話さず立ち去った。みんなに話すことがあると言い出しながら答えなかった。どうして？チェス盤をひっくり返す。すると
話すと言っておきながら話せない矛盾。なんすかね。親父側から見ると何か見えてきますか？
Somebody's listening in.
ええ、見えるわよ。話したいことがある。でも自分から言い出す勇気がない。
Or that.
だから追ってきて俺に話しかけて聞き出してくれが正解ね。ついてくるなも逆の意味よ。ついてきて俺を問い詰めてくれが正解。まったく甘えん坊さんなんだから。
Damn, we're gonna push him to actually, spill the beans while he's doing his makeup? Of all things?
そういう推理でいいんすか？はあ、そりゃお熱いことで。じゃあうちのクソ親父の世話をよろしく頼みますよ。
Yeah, and hopefully that goes well.
ええ、任せておいて。
I called out to Kirie-san's departing back.
え、何？
いや、ありがとよって。
No, this is actually a really good discussion. Like, I don't think I can fully agree with everything that she's saying, but I like her way of thinking.
おかげで陰鬱な気分がだいぶ晴れたぜ。
ならよかった。コミュニケーションは大事ね。
It is. 100%. I truly believe that. After answering with a wink, Kirie-san followed after Dad. Yeah, hopefully that discussion goes well, whatever will come of that. Natsuhi could be found in a dimly lit hallway. Now and then the thunder would crash, but this had no effect on Natsuhi's expression. She looked completely worn out, as per usual, it seems. The discussion that had just taken place between the relatives in the dining hall was repeating itself inside Natsuhi's mind. Beatrice had proclaimed that in addition to the gold, all of the inheritance and property of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the person who could solve the riddle. In other words, she planned to undermine the absolute guarantee that Kraus, as the oldest brother, had to succeed the family head. Originally, the other siblings had absolutely no chance to inherit the headship. To them, this proposal by Beatrice was extremely desirable. It was obvious that they would accept it. There was no need to play some clumsy detective game. Natsuhi knew that this so-called 19th person Beatrice could not exist. Naturally, Beatrice was nothing more than a fictional character used to pass a message that Kinzo had written himself. As proof, Kinzo had remained stubbornly neutral as to the letter's authenticity. He was completely ignoring these reckless claims that he shouldn't be able to ignore, that he had given up the head's ring. In short, Kinzo had wordlessly admitted that the letter held his own message. Most likely, one of the servants had given Maria the letter. Kinzo had probably worked out an elaborate plan where the dress from the portrait would be prepared, and someone, probably Shonen, would be made to wear it and deliver the letter and the umbrella. By doing that, he could make it seem like the witch from the portrait, actually existed. But I don't know, I don't know. I mean, I was just talking about that. Somebody would dress up, one of the servants, definitely, but a lot of them have alibis. I think it's sort of also based on whether or not you really want to believe that. But then again, I'm always going back to, sure, you can really think about all of that and, the logic behind all of that, but we need to think about Maria and how she was a messenger more so than just the title itself. No, if anything, let me start over. No, if anything, that alone was proof that Kinzo was behind all of this, excuse me. In that case, it was the same as Kinzo trying to butt in on the siblings' private discussion. And then Kinzo, by announcing that he'd give everything to the person who solved the riddle, could weaken Kraus's overwhelming advantage. Now, it was certain. Kinzo had eavesdropped on the siblings' discussion in the parlor earlier that day. That is true to an extent. He had a servant do all of that. So he had known how Kraus had staved off the attack by the other three, and to make the scales of the battle go back into balance, he had sent out this strange letter which benefited Kraus's rivals. So he was trying to push this crazy theory so that Rosa, who had a weak position among the siblings because of her age, would join with Ava and Rudolph. Then, with a 3-to-1 advantage, they'd be able to overwhelm Kraus yet again and make their ridiculous theories get accepted by force. And by doing that, he gave them the power to resettle what had once been a nearly decided conflict. They had now started repeatedly pressing Kraus to pay them a large amount of money, using the condition that all the siblings would guarantee Kraus's position as the successor. Talk about advance payments was being brought up again despite having been rejected once. Of course, even without the story about the hidden gold, the Ushiromiya family's store of wealth was vast. That store of wealth alone was more than enough. Even if the hidden gold was buried forever along with Kinzo's death, there would be more than enough to satisfy. Therefore, even if they weren't that interested in the gold itself, Kinzo had managed to instill the lifelong fear that, on the off chance that someone found the gold, that person would be granted the headship. And this kind of a Achilles heel would definitely be taken advantage of by someone sooner or later. The only person with this fatal weakness was the successor, Kraus. The other siblings had they had been told by Kinzo about something that only Kraus could lose, and they had thoroughly taken advantage of that. Natsuhi, as Kraus's only ally in this painful position, and as his wife, wanted to fight alongside him. She kept trying to explain to him that the existence of the gold itself was a farce, and that there was no need for him to compromise. Kraus had always told Natsuhi. He had told all of the siblings. He always said that the hidden gold was nothing more than an illusion created by Kinzo. Therefore, Natsuhi had believed it as his wife and had supported her husband on that foundation. Even so, Natsuhi's words didn't reach Kraus. Even though Natsuhi had fought so hard and had lent all of her strength, he continued to fight by himself and was trying to compromise with the other 3 siblings. Natsuhi sadly and weakly wondered why she could not be of use to him, and then started getting angry. It had happened when everyone decided to take a short break to cool their heads. Natsuhi had flared up against Kraus. Enraged, she had asked why she could not be useful to him. He had then told her that he wanted to talk about something and invited her into a room that she was normally not allowed to enter. That room had been sealed with a heavy-looking padlock, and just looking at it had given her an uncomfortable feeling. Is this going to be something similar to what is going to be discussed between Rudolph and his wife? Because this is very coincidental that these two need to talk as a family as well.
黄金など所詮はお父様が生み出したまやかし。それを見つけられることなどあるわけがない。あなたが跡継ぎであることは盤石です。何を恐れることがあるのです。
Kraus removed the padlock on the door. He then motioned for Natsuhi to enter.
入りたまえ。
何ですか？
見せたいものがある。
Oh.
君に初めて見せるものだ。
What's he got going on in here? Natsuhi timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. She searched for a switch to turn on the lights, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. Kraus entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning on the lights, the two were swallowed up by the darkness. Only the sound of Kraus locking the door rang out through the dark.
これは何事ですか？明かりを。
今つける。待ちたまえ。
Oh boy. Just as he said, when Kraus pushed a switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room.
それは。
Natsuhi had her breath taken away. My breath is fucking taken away too. The room had no windows, and at a glance, it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room, a small round table had been set, and the lights brightened only that table, as if it were leading part in a play, or were the leading part in the play. Sorry guys, I can't fucking read apparently. I am struggling. On top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out, covered with dust. And on top of that, something about the size of a grown man's arm had been set down. That something took Natsuhi's breath away. What is it? Oh. Oh boy.
こいつがなければ誰も黄金伝説を信じはしなかった。
Well, this changes something from our perspective. It was an ingot of solid gold. Even in the faint light, it sparkled with a noble and dignified glint. And it has their symbol on it too.
このインゴットを鋳造したのが国内なのか国外なのか。
It took a high level of skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots. And in order to verify that purity, it was standard to have the original foundry and the name of the bank that guaranteed it imprinted on the gold. However, this ingot did not have that kind of seal. This mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry.
ここを見たまえ、怯えることはない。こいつはただの金塊だ。
Natsuhi, following Krause's words, timidly approached the ingot.
そこだ。
Krause pointed at the surface of the ingot. Natsuhi concentrated on that section. Right there was the thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Natsuhi's breath was taken away once again.
そうだよ。これこそが親父がベアトリーチェに与えられたといい、保証人のマルソーの会長に任意で一つを抜き取らせて持ち帰らせ、財界のフィクサーたちを信用させたという。方々に手を尽くして私が見つけた。他の兄弟たちより早くね。
そんな、じゃあお父様の黄金伝説は
実在する。
Oh boy.
後宮金蔵が授けられたベアトリーチェの黄金は、
そんな本当にあるなんて。
Natsuhi was shocked. Krause had always said that Kinzo's gold was just a fabrication, so she had believed it as his wife. However, the reality was different. Since he held definite proof, he had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Krause was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold that he had failed to find, costing him everything. That probably explains his reaction that we saw in the previous video. He definitely seemed to have lost his cool. He was a little upset. And, well, here we go. This is why, because things are just kind of crashing down and lining up in a way here that could kind of screw Krause out of his position. But to Natsuhi, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. She had thought that as Krause's wife, she should be his closest confidant, which was why she had selflessly supported him. And yet, he had hid this fact from her until today. Why?
そこまでに私はあなたの信頼に足りないというのですか。
I don't think he could have told anyone.
そういうつもりはない。話す必要がなかっただけだ。
あなたにとっては妻はその程度のものなのですか。
落ち着きたまえ。劇場にすぐ駆られるのは君の悪い癖だ。
あなたがそうさせてるんじゃないですか。私は後宮家に嫁ぎ、今日まであなたの妻として仕えてきました。あなたのために生まれた家を捨て、身も心も捧げてお仕えしてきました。その報いがこれなんですか。そんなこと。
Yeah, I definitely think this is just a situation where, like, he could not have said anything to anybody because, well, this is a very delicate situation overall. If anybody found out that, yeah, there is some gold out there, that means that they're going to look. That means that there's going to be more people looking, and more, well, now more than ever, an opportunity for Krause to lose everything. Krause grimaced, looking annoyed. His expression effectively communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsuhi, even if he didn't say it out loud.
私はもう
Oh, come on. God damn, you are dramatic.
それでいい。
Okay, that's not really what I was expecting as a response.
兄弟のトラブルを私が自分の力で解決する。君の力は借りんよ。
違います。これは後宮家のトラブルです。確かに私にはこの身に家紋を刻むことが許されていません。でもあなたの妻です。なのに私には力添えする資格もないのですか？
Well, I don't think that's necessarily what he's saying or implying. It's just that you're saying, oh, I don't think I can be of help to you. And he's like, all right, whatever. You do you.
君を思えばこそあえて関わらせなかったのだ。これ以上は頭痛に障るだろう。君は今夜はこれで休みたまえ。兄弟の話は兄弟でつける。君は関係ない。それだけだ。
Wow. What a lovely relationship between those two. Goals. Hashtag goals. A dull headache tormented Natsuhi. No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scents she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of the rain seemed to be a better cure. I may be Natsuhi, but I was never Ushiromiya Natsuhi. I have been despised and treated as a borrowed womb, and insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as a wife, but now, even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter, as if it were the last job left for me. However, I have had no release for my anger and sadness, and they've caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There is no longer anything I can do for the Ushiromiya family. No, that's no good. Despite it all, I must help my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy siblings. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually, Kraus will succeed the head, and the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will become the next head, but it all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Ushiromiya family. In the days to come, that greedy Ushiromiya Eva, will probably be plotting to find some fault with the main family, and if all goes as she plans, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession with George set up in her place. It is regrettable, but George is a man, and even more, has matured as a person. Compared to Jessica, who is right in the middle of her rebellious period, and whose grades are slightly below average, it can be seen at a glance who is more fit to succeed the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband worthy of the excellent person that she will have become. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all of life's joys and sorrows. Was Natsuhi trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire of her own? Natsuhi thought back to the days when she had no choice but to marry into the Ushiromiya family because of that unavoidable fate. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had consciously forgotten it, and had actively attended to the life that she had been given as Ushiromiya Natsuhi. And in doing so, she had built up a new life. But just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected. Has it though? Has it really though? I did not fully read that. Whoopsies. Okay, that's what she said. Natsuhi helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing, even though it should have been emotionless. Right then, it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsuhi. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsuhi did not intend to pay any attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter. It is. Okay, we're gonna end it here. Guys, I am so tired, and it's actually affecting my reading. yeah, again, long weekend, but happy to be back here recording. Happy to see some lovely developments here, a little bit of drama and this and that. I do have to wonder, you know, what's going on with Rudolph? Why did he say those things? What else is going on? Nice little reveal here with the gold, and you know, just you know, some thoughts as to if there really is a 19th person here, if there actually is a completely different person here, and you know, how did she get here? Why is she here? This and that. A lot of things came up here, I think. No, this was a good recording session, minus me being fucking tired. But thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I hope to be more awake in the next one. Take it easy.